Hey everyone, and welcome. If you're a leader who feels like you're constantly just reacting to things instead of being truly in control, then you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to break down the M360 Self-Management Framework. It's a really powerful system designed to help you get a handle on your time, your priorities, and ultimately, your performance. All right, let's dive in. First up, let's talk about a scenario that's probably way too familiar for a lot of leaders out there. That feeling of just trying to keep your head above water. You're not really leading, you're just surviving. So let me just ask you this straight up. Does your day feel less like a strategic plan and more like you're just running around putting out one fire after another? If you're not in your head right now, trust me, you are not alone. This feeling is pretty much the starting point for so many leaders who are looking for a better way to work.
And here are the big reasons why that feeling of being swamped happens. It's not just the emergencies themselves, right? It's that you don't have a real system to figure out what's actually important. It's that struggle to even know if you're making progress on your biggest goals. And underneath it all is this desire for more control, more structure, more rigor. These are the exact pain points this whole framework is built to fix.
So the big question is, how do we get out of that survival mode? Well, the core idea of the M360 framework is that it doesn't start with managing your team better. Nope, it starts with managing yourself first. It all comes down to personal discipline.
And this quote right here says it all. I mean, think about it. How can you possibly steer the ship with any kind of clarity if you haven't even mastered your own navigation? It really drills home a fundamental truth. Great leadership is an inside-out job. Your team's effectiveness is almost always a direct reflection of your own.
Okay, so what does personal discipline actually mean in the real world? Look, it's not about being some kind of rigid robot. It's about being intentional. It's the ability to structure your day around what truly matters, not just what's screaming the loudest. It's having the consistency to stay on track even when, chaos hits. And it's making sure that every single decision you make is pulling you closer to your big picture objectives.
All right, so we get the problem and we get the core philosophy. Now let's get to the good part, the how. The framework gives you a super clear, actionable path. It's a 4-module journey designed to take you from overwhelmed to incredibly effective.
And here's that roadmap. It's a journey broken down into 4 clear steps. We kick things off with setting the right goals. Then we move to measuring what actually matters. From there, we align our time and our energy. And finally, we master the art of prioritization. Each step builds on the last, so let's take a quick look at each one.
So Module 1 is all about building a solid foundation. This is where you move from just having good intentions to actually taking concrete action by building powerful routines. And these aren't just random habits. We're talking about creating systems that become the engine driving you towards your most important goals, almost on autopilot. You've probably heard this before, but you can't improve what you don't measure. Module 2 is all about using key performance indicators, or KPIs. But the secret here isn't just tracking data, it's tracking the right data. So many of us get lost in metrics that look good but don't actually mean anything. This step is about finding those few critical numbers that give you a totally honest picture of your performance and help guide your biggest decisions.
Now, Module 3 tackles a huge one. Having a calendar that's packed with stuff but doesn't lead to any real progress. This is where you learn to sync up your 3 most precious resources, your actions, your energy, and your time with your actual priorities. It's all about making sure that your daily grind is actually moving the needle on the things that matter most.
And the final module, prioritizing is winning, this is where it all comes together. This is where you learn how to be ruthless, in a good way. You learn to strategically cut out the overload, to say no with confidence, and to pour your energy only into the tasks that create the biggest impact. This is how you win, day after day.
So, when you put it all together, what do you get? A total transformation. You go from this before state, overload, constant emergencies, always reacting, to the after state of clarity, rigor, and being proactive. It's a huge shift from being managed by your circumstances to being the one in command of them.
And that brings us to our last section. What does this actually look like in the real world? Let's talk about the results, the payoff of making this journey from just being overloaded to making a real impact.
It's one thing for me to explain it, but check out this feedback from Martin G. He says he finally set up routines that got him out of permanent emergency mode. He feels more aligned and way more productive. I mean, that's what happens when you turn these ideas into a real system that you use every day.
So when you boil it all down, the ultimate goal of this entire framework is crystal clear. It's about becoming the master of your own effectiveness. It's not some magic trick to find more hours in the day.
It's about getting the absolute most out of the hours you already have by being smart about how you structure your time, your energy, and your priorities.
And that really just leaves one final question for you to think about. After seeing this breakdown, are you ready to transform your own leadership? Because moving from reactive to proactive isn't magic, it's a system. And as we've just seen, this framework gives you a clear path to get there.